Sounds like you're an opinionated bastard. Welcome to the Curiosity Public Podcast. I'm Dutch.
Jules here.
Dylan.
All right, guys. So we are still under the wonderful COVID quarantine.
Containment.
Yeah.
Mitigation.
Yeah, mitigation, flattening the curve. We're staying at home. We're doing a makeshift podcast remotely through the wonders of the internet. What are you guys drinking to get through this tonight? Dylan?
So I am drinking Johnny Walker Blue.
Nice choice.
Is that to go with your blue robe?
Yes, I am wearing my Jedi robe.
If only we had video with these. Then
I know, right? And you guys can see
It's a good thing we don't.
I know, right?
Jules, what do you got going?
I'm going with Havana Club, Añejo, 7 years.
Very nice.
Right, yeah.
That's a sweet treat right there.
Yeah, I wanted some dessert.
I just spilled what I'm drinking all over myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it a wine cooler?
That's why it's a good thing we're not recording the video.
It's Zima.
Zima. Microwaved Zima, guys. It's excellent. I'm actually drinking some Mackenzie bottled in bond.
Wow. Interesting selection. I wonder why.
Yeah. An inspired choice because, Dylan, you've got an inspiring topic.
Yes. So every year, Uproxx sends out this article that talks about underrated alcohol drinks. You know, they ask a bunch of people, mostly bartenders, and they talk about which liquor that they deal with is considered underrated. We wanted to talk about the article, but we wanted to talk about our personal opinions about underrated liquor that we want to kind of push forth, bring to light, so to speak, and let the viewers know.
Cool. So...
Cool story, bro.
Cool story, bro.
All right, so the Uproxx article. I'm gonna talk about the 2021.
Oh, there's a 2021?
Yeah, there's a 2020.
I have the January 2019 one.
Me too. Someone sent the wrong article around.
No, I did. There were two. One is the previous year, and this one is January 27, 2020. They list a bunch of stuff like Michter's, Widow Jane.
Oh, I see. The 2020 is just whiskey. The 2019 is all
that's
kinds
the
of
difference.
booze.
Yeah. So the Hudson, Baby Bourbon, 2 James.
Which is excellent.
Yeah.
So funny story about that one. I hosted an impromptu whiskey tasting one night.
Nice.
Actually, it was New Year's Eve, like 2 years ago. And I was pouring a bunch of stuff I just happened to have on the shelf at the time. And Hudson was on there. And a couple of the people that were there, it was only like 3 people, but I think 2 out of 3 of them kept going back to that particular bottle for some reason. And they were whiskey amateurs. Like I just kind of gave them a small sampling, and that's the one. They were just like, wow, that's so interesting.
Nice.
So maybe there's something to that.
Yeah.
There is, man. That's why I love introducing it to the amateurs, man. Get to know it.
Yeah, and then 2019 list was actually a little bit more interesting because it added things like Jose Cuervo Reserva.
It wasn't just whiskey. It was just all kinds of spirits.
Yeah, and Jose Cuervo Reserva de la Familia. They talked about Sacred Bond Brandy, George Dickel number 12, Don Julio, Chopin, Smooth Ambler, Ancient Age, Monkey
Roku
Shoulder,
Gin,
and New Amsterdam Gin. So what do you think? You guys looked at the article. Obviously, you did not see the links I sent you, but...
Well, the whiskey one, I think I can find some stuff I like on there and that I agree with. The 2019 list with kind of all kinds of different booze, I'm having a harder time because there's not a lot on there. I mean, I've had the Reserva de la Familia, and it's kind of... If you have to have Cuervo, it's definitely the best one. I mean, it tastes like a good sipping tequila. It's not necessarily worth the price, and there's probably better things out there, but it's pretty decent.
It's different.
I mean, it's different.
It's rich. Thought it had a little bit more acidity, but
it's complex and it's interesting enough that you would consider it a true sipping tequila. Like regular Don Julio, Not that interesting to me. Sorry. I don't know why that's on this list. Maybe
in continuing with poo-pooing it, I mean, Jägermeister, I can't believe that's on this list. Just way too many bad memories back in the day with Jägermeister.
Oh.
So, Jaeger bombs. Oh, my God.
Man, Jaeger is
and I can't believe that made this list. So it's like, all right, well.
It's pretty horrible.
Yeah. Who are they interviewing for this stuff?
The strange thing is like when we were in our 20s, we loved Jaeger.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And then I had this weird experience where it was actually on my 30th birthday. Like I went out and somebody got me a shot of that and I had it. I was like, oh yeah, I used to love Jaeger. I took it and I was like, oh my gosh.
No, yeah, man.
Something happens, I think, when you turn 30. And now that I'm 40, I'm wondering if it's even worse. Like I haven't tried it since I haven't tried it for over a decade now. I'm kind of curious what would happen.
I did not do those types of things when I was in my 20s. I drank wine.
Just crack.
You've gone from sophisticated to less sophisticated over time.
Talk about this list. Do you think it's appropriate, not appropriate? Do you agree?
The concept is great. I feel like the three of us could talk about underrated whiskeys for an hour.
True.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, these kind of topics, this is great clickbait. This is exactly what people want to see. It's like, what's the most underrated? And, and then you can agree with it, mostly disagree with it. And
why don't we make some clickbait podcasts and say our underrated whiskeys? We each have to pick one. So go for it. Go.
All right,
go.
I'll start. I pick Johnny Walker Blue,
Nice.
and I'm drinking that. And the reason for that is because, number one, it's so prevalent. It's everywhere now due to rising costs of various liquors. They look at the $150 price point and don't bat an eye. I mean, it's still extremely, extremely expensive. But if you go up to a whiskey or scotch aficionado and say, hey, what do you think about Johnny Walker Blue? Their response isn't, oh my goodness, it's a wonderful liquor. It's like, yeah, it's all right. But I like this 4-year super young rye whiskey that was made in the corner over there using the corn out of some dude's backyard. That's how it's become. And I'm going to pay $79.99, whatever.
Nice.
But what I'm saying is I think Johnny Walker Blue, it also gets a lot of crap because it's blended. This whole hype about single malt, all this. I mean, we know single malt whiskey was a PR marketing shtick. It wasn't because some distillers were like, oh yeah, this is going to be the next best thing. It was a marketing thing first. That's how it started. And so I don't understand why blended whiskeys get so much crap. And Johnny Walker has done phenomenally over the years. And it's still, I think, one of the top selling scotch in the world. I think there's a reason for that. Johnny 50 is Johnny 50. Johnny 50 is a separate thing. But Johnny Blue is extremely smooth. It has enough peat. It has a very balanced peatiness. It doesn't really have that bite, but it's so well-rounded and balanced that's what I love about it. And Jules, let me kind of explain. I think I remember distinctly we were in Hong Kong. Remember that? And
right.
I still remember we were at the lounge.
Oh, that's right.
And
yeah,
and your dad bought us a glass of a neat Johnny Blue, and it was amazing night. I'm drinking it now, and I'm thinking back to that as well. I just think that it's really underrated at this point. I really think that it's a very, very, very good alcohol.
Well,
nice.
I kind of have a problem with that.
Well, I don't care. I mean,
no, you don't care.
Your opinion.
Let me
your
preface,
opinion matters not.
Let me preface this with that. I actually kind of agree with you that I like Johnny Walker Blue. I really do enjoy it, and I agree with you that blends and things like that. I've become more appreciative of them as time goes on because single barrel stuff, single release stuff, it might be wonderful, but it's not replicable. And there's something about the fact that Johnny Walker Blue's been there for so long, and it's always going to be there, and it's always going to taste this way, and it's always going to taste awesome. That is impressive, but I think it gets recognition, man. Have you seen Billions? They're drinking Johnny Walker Blue.
Wait, so you're saying it's not underrated because it's out there? I
don't think it's underrated. I think it's great. I don't know. Maybe I just don't see the hate that it receives that you apparently see.
I don't think people talk about it anymore. I mean, I don't see it on this. I don't see it on any lists. I don't see as top liquors. Look at some of the top 10 liquors.
I kind of feel like if you're on the show Billions, you've kind of made it though. Like all they do is like drink Michter's 20 year and Johnny Walker Blue.
That matters not to Dylan, though.
No, I think,
about
listen, I think if you talk to young whippersnapper and you say, like, what about Johnny Walker? I'm like, whatever,
Okay.
But again, I want to drink that 16-month rye that was made in the backyard using copper pots from, recycled copper wires from the wall or something. I don't know. And I'm happy to pay $99.99, whatever. But it's not getting.
I think I see where you're going.
And and remember, I used to explain in our previous life that I enjoy the blends because I feel like that's where the distiller's skills come out. If it's a single barrel, you're just taking it out of there and you're putting it in the bottle. But if you have to blend the thing, that's when people have to use their palate and figure out what can be mixed in order to create a balance. So I appreciate that skill. And I think Johnny Walker Blue has consistently brought out great product. And I don't think it's getting that recognition.
Fair enough. So you love the Johnny Blue. What do you think about Johnny number 5?
Johnny 5 is alive.
All right. You want to go next, Jules?
Yeah, I'm going to go with, one that I feel is underrated, mostly because it can easily get poo-pooed on, is Old Grandad Bonded. Only because I think this is like a workhouse kind of drink. I mean, it's great. Like, I can enjoy it neat.
But that over the 114?
I think it's just, again, it's the workhorse, though. It can be good. It's like great in cocktails, right? And shaken or stirred, you know what I mean? And I think that's where a lot of times, and at a great price point.
Are you trying to imply that James Bond would drink it?
Yeah, exactly. The new James Bond.
I want to push back.
He's drinking Heineken apparently too, so completely different ball game now. But
yeah, if we can add beer, that's another discussion. But listen, I want to push back a little bit because I think Old Grandad is on a lot of people's lists.
Underrated?
I've seen
the whiskey nerds, man.
Yeah, I've seen Old Grandad on more lists than Johnny Walker Blue.
I think that I do think that Old Grandad is having a bit of a renaissance these days. I think it's starting to get some of that recognition, but maybe that's just because of Jules.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm causing that movement.
Yeah,
I feel like that's more. It's with my stock in pink lemonade, dude.
Yeah,
totally. But not a bad pick. I mean, it's a nice one. I mean, it's got such a bold flavor that I feel like you can have it on the rocks and you won't lose it.
Exactly. You can still enjoy it.
It's one that powers through in cocktails, which is great.
Yeah, exactly.
So good pick. So I'm going to go with what I'm drinking right now, actually, which is Mackenzie Bottled in Bond. I don't think everybody's seen this stuff. It's not from Kentucky. It's from New York. So I know New York bourbons get poo-pooed on a lot.
New York City.
Yeah, but it's bottled in bond, 100 proof. It's aged at least 4 years. It's a wheater, and it has just such a complex, interesting flavor profile that I think if more bourbon drinkers tried it, it would be up there. And actually, I mean, full disclosure, like the three of us tried it head to head against, what was it? Old Fitzgerald 14, one of the decanter bottles. This was kind of when we were testing out some footage, so it'll never see the light of day. So I feel like I can talk about it. But I think all three of us preferred the Mackenzie, or it was close enough that we couldn't tell. And the Mackenzie's about a $30 to $40 bottle, where the Old Fitz 14 is hundreds of dollars, right? If you can even find it. So I think it punches way above its weight class. $40, you will not be let down. I mean, it is phenomenal.
I would agree. I love Mackenzie. I have that special bottle that
their barrel picks are incredible.
It's incredible. And whenever I see it, I pick it up because I know it's going to be just amazing experience. So I get that. I think
every sip of this I'm taking, I'm just savoring it.
Enjoy
it's just delicious.
Yeah. Both picks are really great. It's kind of boring for you guys though, because you guys keep picking bourbon. I mean, I think I'm the only one who can branch out, well-rounded. You guys are rough around the edges. Now, do you have anything else that you can talk about other than bourbon, other types of liquors that you find to be underrated?
How about something that's not whiskey? And then you can join in too.
Sure.
I could talk about tequila here because there's definitely tequilas that I could probably name one that most people have heard of that is much better than you might think it is. And I can probably name one that might be a little bit off the radar that is cheap, but probably one of the best ones out there. So the one that I think most people have probably heard of is Espolón, which is, it's like a $20 bottle of tequila. But, if I have to get a bottle for a party where I know people are going to mix it and people don't want to spend money on stuff or whatever it is great. I was at a party party where I was mixing margaritas nonstop, and I just went and I got a 1.75 liter of Espolón, and everybody was like, wow, these are fantastic. I love finding stuff like that is a bargain, but it works in whatever setting you're going to use it for. The second tequila I'll mention is Tapatio, which is maybe a little bit more obscure. In Southern California, it's pretty easy to find a lot of these brands, but elsewhere it may not be. But Tapatio, not the hot sauce, guys. Tapatio tequila. And they've got a full range, Blanco, Reposado, Añejo. They've got an extra Añejo. All of them are fantastic. They're all very reasonably priced, and they're 1 liter bottles. So a lot of the time they're priced the same as 750 ml bottles would be at this range, maybe in the $20 to $40 range, but you're getting much more liquid for your price. So they're a total bargain. Any of them you ever see, try them if you're interested in tequila, because they're excellent.
What about Centinela or G4?
I mean, G4s usually commands a bit of a premium in price. Centinela, the old Centinela, fantastic. New Centinela, I can't really speak to. I don't think it's as good as it used as the older stuff was.
Nice.
Jules, what do you got?
So I'm actually going to go with Tanqueray. So gin.
Are you saying Tanqueray or Tanqueray?
What's that? I was going to say Bangarang.
Bangarang.
Batarang?
Rufio.
But not the Rufio. Whatever happened to that guy? But not the 10. I'm actually going to go with the regular, and I feel like that's underrated just because of all the hype with not the hype also, but I mean the warranted hype with 10, how it's presents typically more of the wider palette of flavors, great for cocktails and stuff. But I'm going to go with just the regular dry gin 10, non-10, excuse me, dry gin, and just because I think it's got a nice bounce to it, with the different notes, with spice notes, juniper, coriander. So I think, that's actually one of the ones where it's been underrated because I think it's, again, being overlooked by the more popular 10. So
if you were to have the option of buying the tank 10 or the regular tank, you're saying don't spend the money on the 10?
I'm saying, I would argue, you should have both, but I would argue that the regular tank is good enough.
Interesting. All right.
Wow.
And the teas, do have something of that in the future coming out, I think.
Wow. Oh, we do have some stuff about gin. That is very true. Yeah.
All right.
All right, Dylan, what do you got?
Yeah, I want to preface this by saying, look, I'm not purposely trying to pick expensive liquors here, but I don't know why it's turning out this way. As you know, I'm a Puritan, and
I know why.
But listen, so I'm the next one that I think is underrated is Hennessy XO. So Hennessy XO, I think, is associated with a lot of different things in modern culture. I think the regular Hennessy is loved by a lot of different people. I think deservedly so. I think it's very good. I think it's a very good cognac. But again, much like Johnny Walker Blue, Hennessy XO has become, I guess, too prevalent, and everybody knows about it, knew about it, and they're not really talking about it. But Hennessy XO has been very consistent also. It's always good. It's always great. I don't know if you guys had Hennessy XO recently. I still remember the first time I've had it. Still as good as I could remember. I think it is one of the best cognac that's out there. I know that, again, Hennessy is facing the competition that you see in every liquor class, but Hennessy XO, one of the original cognacs, I think it's fantastic. It really doesn't make any lists again, just because I think it's just been around for a long time, but it's still really
because it's
really
not
good.
Underrated because of its price.
Yeah, dude. $200.
I mean, come on. How is it underrated when it's expensive?
Courvoisier is cheaper.
Come on.
Yeah, but have you ever seen Hennessy XO on lists saying oh, this is really great cognac?
Because it's not going to be on any underrated list.
Most people
it's
can't.
too freaking expensive.
Exactly.
Okay, look. Hey, you can buy the smaller bottle.
I didn't know that the challenge was name the underrated $200 bottle.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, Johnny Walker Blue.
Yeah.
XO.
The bottle clearly always goes just under $250,000. Oh, yeah.
Hey Jules, what's your
underrated
$200 bottle of whiskey?
Look, I didn't plan it that way.
Oh my God,
You guys asked me for my, again, objective opinion.
Clearly
And
objective.
out of everything, I think those two are
I think
phenomenal.
we need to go back to basics here. What does underrated mean to you?
Wow. I've never tried the Hennessy XO.
Really?
I'm curious.
Okay,
I want to try the Louis XIII. I want to try all that crazy cognac stuff.
So I've tried the Louis XIII, and I think that's overrated. But of course, we're talking about
it's like $5,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, this is bad. Hey, we need to cut this because it makes it seem as if I am pretentious. But you guys know I'm very humble, right?
No.
Humility personified. Dutch, you got another one?
Not a tequila, not a cognac, not a whiskey. You know, one that does come to mind is a rum, which you can't buy in the United States.
Wait a minute.
So
you're giving
here
me
we
crap.
go. Look
Wait. You're giving me all this crap about.
Hey, dude, look, you can walk across the border to Canada or Mexico and buy this stuff, and it's cheap. Havana Club 7-year, inexpensive rum that is fantastic.
And not available in the United States.
And exactly what Jules is drinking right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But like I said, dude, if you happen to live within driving distance of the Canadian border or the Mexican border, pick a bottle up, man. Or next time you're traveling somewhere. It's available literally everywhere else in the world, and it's considered kind of an inexpensive rum. I mean, every time I'm traveling, I go into liquor stores, and there's just 3 or 4 different kinds of Havana Club. And every time I see it, I'm like, wow, that's really cool, because I've tried most of them, and they're really good rums.
First of all, I wanted to thank Dutch because I think he got me my first. No. Actually, it's the second bottle because my cousin went to Cuba and got me a bottle of Havana Club. That was the first time I've tried it, and then the second
Marking Dutch's gift irrelevant.
Well, no, second time. Second time, Dutch gave me a beautiful bottle, a 7-year, and I really appreciated that. And I enjoyed that so much that when I travel, I try to get some more just in case. It's not expensive. I would agree with that. I think it is underrated, I think.
And I gave you one that wasn't the 7-year too.
Oh, yeah. You gave me the Maestros.
Yeah, no, that is a special bottle.
That's very, very good. It is extremely premium rum. One of the best I've had.
The Havana Club 7-year is not, I wouldn't say it's particularly hard to find outside of the US, and it's not particularly expensive, but it is.
Yeah, it's at a good price.
It's delicious. It is just delicious.
And probably ignored because of its price.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I see it in most liquor stores outside the United States. I think I went to some kind of random grocery store outside the United States, and they had a shelf full of it. Unfortunately, I couldn't bring back enough of it. I think they allowed me to buy one.
All right, guys. Any other underrated spirits you can think of before we close things out here?
Well, I can't say any more because obviously you guys
they're all priced above $300.
Well, I really
25, 23.
Oh, geez.
Look, no, I really think that the Macallan 25 is extremely.
All right.
Oh, you gotta love it.
That's a pretty good discussion there of underrated products, except for the ones that Dylan picked. But Jules, pick us out.
Well, hey, for those of you listening on our podcast, thank you very much. It is new for us, and we're still getting used to our programming. But for those of you on YouTube, comment below. We do read them, or Dutch at least tries to read most of them. Smash that thumbs up button. Tap subscribe for more from Curiosity Public. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay curious.